Right friends, welcome back to News of the Day with the prelims focus. News of the day, Jadhav sentence, Sushma Swaraj talks tough, and Kulbhushan Jadhav was sentenced to death, and in this connection India is talking tough. And today there is one editorial in The Hindu and one editorial in Times of India. We are going to deliberate in editorial discussion and how it violates Vienna Convention. Those things we are going to deliberate in the editorial discussion. Second one is banning online prenatal sex determination content is dangerous. What is the prenatal? What is the neonatal? Prenatal is before birth, that is the prenatal, and neonatal is after the birth up to 28 days is known as neonatal. So here there is a banning of online prenatal sex determination content. Supreme Court feels you can ban the advertisements. Please ban the advertisements, but at the same time don't ban the availability of information with regard to prenatal sex determination, because right to know is the fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a). So, Supreme Court said right to know is fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution. So, you cannot block the information, please block the advertisements. That is the message given by the Supreme Court. Then the next one is HIV law promises equality. This yesterday Parliament passed HIV and AIDS Bill 2017, and there are several aspects. Basically, discrimination should not be there, whoever are affected with HIV. And here lot of information is there, and probably editorial will come tomorrow. We will deliberate at that juncture. And the next one is UNICEF seeks help from Islamic bodies to achieve vaccination goal. Here there are some myths. Because of myths, some families are not taking the vaccination, and at present 65% of the children are covered up to 1 year. Vaccination coverage in our country is 65%. Government's intention is to take it to 90%. Every year 5% vaccination is to be increased. Every year 5% vaccination is to be increased, but government is not able to meet the goal because of some myths prevalent in some sections of society. So now UNICEF is seeking help from Islamic bodies to achieve vaccination goal. So there are several myths with regard to measles rubella vaccine also. And please don't forget Indradhanush. And initially there were 7 vaccines, and as per the news item of last year 4 new vaccines were added, and we have to look into it whether what are the vaccines which are at present being administered, and some of the vaccines are administered out of these 4. Some of the vaccines are administered in some particular states only, and that aspect we will deliberate later. And these are part of Mission Indradhanush. These are part of Mission Indradhanush, and here it is the initiative to fully immunize all children against 7 vaccine preventable diseases initially. So this is part of Mission Indradhanush, and this Mission Indradhanush initially covers 7 diseases, and subsequently some new vaccines were introduced. And regarding the vaccines and partially where they are introduced, we will cover in some other lecture, right? Look into the next one. US toughens stance as Tillerson arrives in Moscow. Now the relations appears further they will strain, and we have to wait and see the aspects pertaining to Syria. Now another news item, please see. G7 stands united on Syria. G7, that is advanced nations, industrialized countries, they are united on Syria, and here the biggest problem is Russia is supporting Syrian government and West is supporting rebels, and now peace process is expected to start, but the contention of the Western countries is Bashar al-Assad must go. Russia is clearly in favor of Bashar al-Assad, so there is confrontation between Russia and Western countries led by America. How it is going to transform, only time can say. So look into the next one. Nepal tables new bill amending the constitution. Please recollect, in 2015, Nepal constitution came into force. Subsequently, there were demands from Madhesi groups. And please look into this. This is Madhesi region and you can say Terai region. So Madhesis are inhabited mostly in Terai region of Nepal. So this please don't forget. Look into the next one. North Korea threatens to nuke United States. So North Korea is now threatening that it will attack with nuclear weapons United States of America. Then the next news item is GSTN data will be totally secure. Please look into this. GSTN is Goods and Services Taxes Network. GSTN is Goods and Services Tax Network, and here we are talking about GSTN. This is most important, non-government, not-for-profit company, section 25, not-for-profit company, non-government, private limited company. So in examination, GST Council as well as GST network, these two are very important. What is the shareholding? More than that, this GST network is non-government private limited company, please understand. So if you look at the next issue, the global collaboration project BELT 2 moves a step forward. Here there are two things evident from this article. Indian scientists are associated with this project, and this project was rolled in, that is one aspect, and this experiment is designed to study violations of the standard model of particle physics. Please don't forget, the world's largest particle physics laboratory is CERN. India recently became associate member of CERN, and this experiment is basically to study the violations of the standard model of particle physics, or you can say it will be supplementing the efforts of CERN. So it is to supplement the efforts of CERN, this experiment, and we will discuss in detail in the next class, right? So we came to the end of this, and let us look at the prelims focus now. The first question, quite often we hear about angel investments and venture capital funds. In this context, find the incorrect statement. 4 statements are given. Yesterday I told about unicorn company. What is the meaning of unicorn company? At the same time, fund of funds also I discussed yesterday. Now today, angel investments and venture capital funds. We are going to deliberate. The first question is on that. Here you see the first option. Angel capital is 2 early stage investments than venture capital. This is the right sentence. Angel capital is 2 early stage investment. Venture capital is somewhat bigger investment after the growth potential of the company is established. Right? So first sentence is correct. Look at the second one. The value of investments is normally less for angel investors and it is more for venture capital. Absolutely correct. Angel investors, the investment is less, and venture capital, the investment is more. These angel investments as well as venture capital, these are the investments for startup companies. These came to the forefront in recent times because nowadays several tech related companies are coming to the forefront, because tech related companies have got lot of scope for growth in shortest possible time. So tech related companies. Normally when people are talking about this angel investment as well as venture capital, they pertains to normally tech related companies, because tech related companies can grow with a small investment. They can become $1 billion company, or you can say they can become unicorn company. So here D is also correct, A is correct, B is correct. The wrong answer is interest rates will be high for angel investment. Actually, angel investments or venture capital, these are the investments which normally they take percentage of equity or percentage of ownership. Once the company becomes big, they become too much profitable to them, because here out of 10 companies, one company may survive, but that one company is expected to become too big. So the venture capital or angel investment basically runs with the principle of taking the ownership, but not on interest basis. That's why banks are not able to fund these startup companies, right? So if you look at the next question, CASA is quite frequently in the news, and look at the following sentences. If you look at the banking system, one is non-performing assets, the second one is CASA. What is meant by CASA? CASA is the percentage of savings account deposits and current account deposits to overall deposits. Overall deposits in the denominator, then current account and savings account deposits in the numerator, right? So in comparison to overall deposits, the percentage of savings account and current account deposits is CASA ratio. Normally it is expected to be around 40% or so. So CASA deposits means normally 40% of the deposits are savings account and current account deposits. It is profitable. So the average of all these deposits is known as cost of funds in the banking parlance. CASA deposits, normally successful banks have got CASA deposits of around 40% or so. It is not a hard and fast rule. Some banks have got 35%, some banks have got 45%. And let us come back to the question. High CASA facilitates reduction in cost of funds for the banks. Absolutely correct. High CASA facilitates reduction in cost of funds for the banks, because you see, if more and more savings account deposits, more and more current account deposits are there, the cost of funds will be reduced. Cost of funds means average interest paid by the banks to the depositors for their deposits. So that will be reduced, hence their profit margin or net interest margin will increase, right? High CASA also gives more certainty to the banks for planning long-term loans. So this is wrong. This is correct. Why the second one is wrong? Because if the high CASA deposits are there, then what happens? These two are uncertain deposits. Savings bank account deposits, current account deposits are uncertain deposits. They can come at any time, they can go at any time. So if these deposits are increasing up to one level, it is okay. Beyond that, it will create some sort of uncertainty to the banks. So banks cannot plan with certainty long-term loans. So one advantage of CASA, high CASA, is their profitability will increase. The disadvantage of CASA is banks' uncertainty will increase with regard to the long-term loans. Look into the next one. Name the country which decided to modify pacifist constitution. Last year, this is one landmark development. Pacifist constitution. Normally, the principle behind the pacifist constitution is no army is required and no country should maintain army. I am telling in layman's terms. So previously Japan used to have pacifist constitution, and now it amended that last year. So the answer is Japan. So if a question comes on the pacifist constitution, last year modifications were done, especially with regard to Japan. Look at the following core industries. There are 8 core industries. The highest contribution is electricity. all the 8 core industries constitute around 38% in index of industrial production. Here the question is, identify the 2 core industries from above which have the least weightage in the index of industrial production. The least weightage in the index of industrial production. What are they? Please look into this question. Probably the answer is fertilizers and natural gas. They have the least weightage, and whereas the electricity has got the highest weightage. Please remember. Under Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana. What is this program? Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana is basically making available generic medicines. What is meant by generic medicine? Generic medicine is the bio-equivalent of a branded product. It will have bioequivalence. Biologically, it is biochemically, it is equivalent you can say, but the cost will be less, and this program is being implemented by Bureau of Pharma PSUs of India. Bureau of Pharma PSUs of India. This is implementing this, and this is the flagship program of Government of India, Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana, making available generic medicines to the population. Looking to the next question, this is, India became associate member of CERN. In this context, read the following sentences. CERN is the world's largest nuclear and particle physics laboratory. This is correct. It is the operator of the Large Hadron Collider. This is also correct. With the upgradation of India to associate member status, Indian companies can bid for engineering contracts with CERN. This is also correct. So, all 3 are correct. Look at the next question. Market stabilization scheme is into the news recently. What is the meaning of market stabilization scheme? Here, market stabilization scheme is different from market borrowing program. Market borrowing program means government to bridge the fiscal deficit. All of you are familiar with fiscal deficit. So, government to finance the fiscal deficit will go for borrowing from the market. That is known as market borrowing program. So, this market borrowing program is conducted by the Reserve Bank of India on behalf of central government. So, government borrows money, Reserve Bank of India will act as mediator. So, every year 4 lakh crores to 5 lakh crores government borrow, and market stabilization scheme is entirely different. When excess liquidity is there in the market, whatever the reason, I am not going into the details, these are when excess liquidity is there in the market, then there is a mechanism. The mechanism is market stabilization scheme. Special bonds will be issued by the RBI on behalf of Government of India, but they will be kept as a separate account. Bonds will be issued under market stabilization scheme, and they are kept in a separate account. They are not part of market borrowing program. Then these are also classified as perpetual bonds. This is also wrong. So, both are wrong. Market stabilization scheme is issuing bonds, keeping that money aside, and government normally not expected to use it. It is not part of market borrowing program. Look at the next one. Which of the following is not the fully owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India? Bharatiya Reserve Bank Note Mudran Private Limited. It prints notes. It has got 2 offices at Mysore and Salboni, 2 printing presses. This is the wholly owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India. DICGC. What is DICGC? Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation. This is basically, this comes into picture when bank collapses. When bank is collapsing, depositors can get insurance up to maximum of rupees 1 lakh. So, Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation, this is the wholly owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India. NHB, National Housing Bank, this is housing regulator. This is also fully owned subsidiary of RBI, but not NPCI. NPCI is not fully owned subsidiary of RBI. It is promoted by core promoter banks, and RBI is also associated with its functioning, but RBI is not owning this NPCI. Look into the next one. In recent times, we hear about several mechanisms to solve the issue of non-performing assets. Find the incorrect sentence. Asset reconstruction companies were established under SARFAESI Act and bad loans can be sold to ARCs. This is correct. Asset reconstruction companies are established under SARFAESI Act and bad loans can be sold to asset reconstruction companies under SARFAESI Act. Then another mechanism was devised, S4A. This S4A is another mechanism where the debt, when a company is owing something to the bank, then that debt can be bifurcated into sustainable debt, unsustainable debt. So this is another mechanism. This is also correct. Strategic debt restructuring. Strategic debt restructuring is the mechanism. Suppose SBI has given 1000 crores to some company is not paying back, then SBI can assume the management control. That is strategic debt restructuring. And SMA0, SMA1, SMA2, these are the mechanisms before the asset becomes NPA. So SMA0, SMA1, SMA2, these are the mechanisms to be enforced when the loan becomes NPA. So during the initial days, up to 90 days, before 90 days, because loan becomes NPA once it crosses 90 days. Before 90 days, this SMA0, SMA1, SMA2 mechanism is enforced. So this is the wrong sentence. Look into the next one. The next one is government released capital goods policy. Last year, government announced capital goods policy, which aims to increase capital goods production from 2.3 crore to 7.5 crores. Look at the following sentences to illustrate capital goods. What do you understand by capital goods? These are for final consumption. Absolutely wrong. Capital goods are not for final consumption. You see, this my shirt is consumer good. I am using it. This pen is consumer good. And capital goods are the machinery which is used to manufacture this pen, to manufacture my shirt. The machinery is capital goods. These are one of the means of production. Absolutely correct. Without capital goods, production cannot take place. These are used in the production of goods or services meant for final human consumption. That means the machinery which is used to manufacture my shirt is capital goods. Right? So we discussed 10 questions today. So let us conclude here. Please do join for editorial discussion. Important aspects are there. Have a nice day. Thank you.